about 1,000 degrees. Yeah, the only thing that can really overheat in here is these tepidizers, so I'd need to protect those. But essentially all it's doing is cycling steam. The steam then goes down here. I had to put a little tunnel down here to split the flow of steam because I found that I was getting way more steam on the right side of the build than the left. So I just did a little tunnel and that just sort of equalizes it out a little bit, and then we end up with similar amounts of steam, you know, 479, 529 kilos. It gets fed through, gets cooled a little bit. Because it gets cooled a little bit on the output, I put another mechanized airlock here, and that just transfers the temperature back to the steam, so it rises up here again, and we get, you know, toasty steam. And that's it. This is running, it's generating, if we look at the reports, report for yesterday, we're getting a, let's see, we're using, I have got a water sieve still in the base, which is what my dupes are using. There is a water sieve here that's using a bit of power. We've also, where are we, power usage. I think that's about it, liquid pump. This little pump toggles on occasionally, but that's about it. You know, we're getting a net gain of 2,048 kilojoules just off this. So it does give you a power gain, but Jesus Christ, was it a ball ache to build. And I don't know if I'd ever attempt to build something like this in single player. It would take a long time on stream. So there you go. Hope that explains it a little bit. I did post on the forums, but quite a few people seemed to miss the point of what I was doing. Started saying to me like, you should send you should dig down to magma and boil your oil. I'm like, I know that. I've done that for fucking months, but this is different. This is to show how to use the steam turbine. So I just thought I'd explain it basically. It is on the forums if you want to have a look. I was quite happy with it. It took quite a while, but until we get better thermo switches, it wouldn't be fully manageable. So. They did on mine. You must have built it wrong. Fuck you, buddy. Oh, they fixed it. I think it's possible, mate. How hot does the steam need to be now? Like 300 degrees. Well, the steam turbines need to be 260 odd degrees, I think, which you can't do with a tepidizer build or an aquatuner build. So, it needs to be pretty toasty, buddy. I was already wondering. Belizano, good evening, bud. And that, by the way, is an insane setup for that steam. Thank you, mate. What in the heck? Domain, good evening. How's it going? There is a forum link, but you'll be able to find it. I think it's called like the updated steam turbine build or something like that. Right, let's get another tube in. What do we need? Cook, research, build. Can't dig. None of them are very good. I'm going to reject them all. If all the magma was reachable and you could pump magma automatically, it could be fun. Yeah, we need like a super... I still haven't fixed the mushrooms. I've only just started, Leppy. I've only just started the stream, man. Yeah, we need like a Kevlar coated, or you know, some abyssalite coated pump. That's what we need, so that we can pump really hot things. Because that was why I had to have so many mechanized doors in that steam build to move the steam around. Because we couldn't put pumps in, because pumps would just overheat and melt. So, yeah. Yeah, it is finite grind this game, but there's enough magma on the map to last like a 20,000 cycle colony. You know, there's a lot of magma at the bottom of the map. Yeah, I haven't fixed the mushrooms, Leffy, but I will. I'll do it today. Someone who literally ever goes to the forum should totally link that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I'll get you a link, buddy. Where are we looking for forums? There's a link. That's a lovely mushroom setup you have. Screw you, XP! Have you figured out if the reason the steam is moving to the right, as in, is it the gas pressure of the heat? I have no idea, Space. I don't know, buddy. But it was easily solved, so I didn't really give it much thought afterwards. I just sacked it off and tried to get the build working. I do not know. I've never dealt with steam at that temperature before, so I've never really observed it. I did try I had another idea to make I'll just pause it whilst I explain. I had another idea to make do you remember the hydrogen bubbler, the old hydrogen bubbler that Beowulf did, where you have hydrogen and oxygen in the same room, or polluted oxygen in the same room? I had an idea to boil my steam with natural gas, So I would boil the oil to 400 degrees and then pump my water into the room and let the natural gas cook the water into steam and then separate them. But again, because we don't have any pumps that can go above like 100 and something degrees, 125 degrees or whatever, the pumps would just get cooked up. So I did make a little chamber to see how they behave together and put in natural gas at 500 degrees, steam at 500 degrees, and they just equalised perfectly. There was no fighting, they just perfect equalised in a little chamber, like a little square box. We need better pumps, that's what we need next. And that would really open up some opportunities for doing some more snazzy builds, but just an Atmos switch for now would make me happy, like a temperature switch rather that can go to higher temperature would be nice. That would be very good. All our crops are back up online, but we do need to fix this. This is what I was talking about before. This was XP is overrated's idea, just for the record. And it does not work. They can get to the crops, but they can't get to the food. Which sucks balls, it has to be said. So, I need to fix it. I can't be bothered. Alright, I'll fix it. How should we do this? Son of a bitch, honestly. By the way, I fucked up with the nullify. I didn't know you can flood it. Oh. So what's the weird thing with the mushrooms? Basically, the idea was that we could have these little walkways underneath, and then they could get to the farm tiles, fertilise them, and get the crops to grow, feed them their slime and whatnot, but they can't harvest the mushrooms. So we've basically just got mushrooms sat in here. They're preserved because it's a sterile environment, but I want to eat them. So we need to get access to there, which it's one of them jobs I can't be asked doing because we do have loads of meal lice, but we should really get it sorted. Excuse me. Oh, I need to move these hatches and stuff as well. Tell you what we'll do. Let me get these hatches out of the way. We'll just do a little wall up here or something. To be fair, you never specified you wanted to eat them. You son of a bitch. Yeah, it's CO2, Delmain. They need to be in a CO2 filled area, and I don't like getting polluted oxygen in there because that stifles them. So we'll figure something out. I'll get it working. Couldn't you door into a waterlock or something to completely prevent CO2 loss? Yes, but for the fact that when they take slime in to fertilise them, the slime releases polluted oxygen, which stifles dust caps. So I need to figure out how to get rid of the polluted oxygen. We've done loads of mushroom builds before. I should realistically just rip the whole thing down, but I'm going to try and get it to work. How wide is this again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 20 tiles. 20, 40, 60, 80. No, I could get around that. I can get around the room bonus thing. Right, let's just do this. Oh, so they'll only go in to grab the mushrooms. I see what you mean. Yeah, might do something like that. And just leave them growing naturally. It's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout at all. Right, let's get rid of you. Let's whack a tile here. I want to get all these hatches together. Let us... Let's dig you. How are we getting on up here? Ah, beautiful. We're nearly there. Let's just do that. More digging going on up here, which is great. Probably going to dig some of this out as well. I want to get this sealed and then open up the base and get all this hydrogen in here. That's kind of the plan. Hanno, good evening, buddy. How the devil goes it? How are you, mate? It's only grab. They'll only go in to grab the mushrooms, not carry slime. Yeah, they can slime from the bottom. Yep, that makes sense. What if you use the old 3 mechanical door system? I could just use water locks. That's not a problem. Not a problem. We can get around it, honestly. Don't worry. It will be fine. I'm just procrastinating about doing it because I can't be arsed, but we do need to get the food set up. My main thing is I want to get some power, just basic power set up. Get our circuits in, and we can then get our coal gens where we want them and turn these into a little power station room. I'm thinking somewhere down here would be nice. What's going on in here? What the fuck's this? What? What? Is it a bottle of water? Why can't I select this? Gimme. Right, let's get this swept. I have some very poorly dupes by the looks of it. How's Rowan doing? He had a red bar a second ago. Is that his health? It is his health. Let's get Rowan on the old... Have we got any massage med tables? I don't think we do. Let's put a couple of temporary med bays in. Just to get them healed up. Let's deconstruct you. So did you upgrade to live builder? Yeah, I did, Saturnus. How's it going, buddy? How are you, mate? What are your thoughts on using finite refined metal for tuning power? If you're using it on something that matters, or if you're using it... How can I put this? I would probably use it on coal gens and maybe natural gas gens. I don't think I'd use it on anything else. No worries at all, Hanno. No worries at all. I figured as much, mate. Don't worry, buddy. Again, hope everything's alright, bud. It's good to see you back. It's fully live now. Yeah, it went live just before the stream. Probably like 6:50 or something, I think. What are your thoughts then, Saturnus? What are you thinking, mate? Right, we've now got our hatches in there. Which doesn't really help me all that much, but it does mean that I can get rid of this floor. We'll need this to be 3 high. And I'm going to put a few ladders in down here. I'm going to move this gas out so it doesn't flow into the base. Let me think. I'll do something like this. I tried to copy your compressed polluted water tank. Oh, the oil over the tank. Failed miserably, didn't realise you put oil on the vent. I did mention the other night, make sure you build your gap too high, because that's where I fucked up on this one. It's not essential, but it does mean that you'll get little blobs of oil in there if you're not careful. But you can have you already overpressurized it? Still no temperature sensors above 200 degrees, so steam turbine is dead in the water. We've just been talking about that, Saturnus. Haven't tried conveyors yet, to be honest. We've got a tiny bit of it in this base, but not very much. But yeah, I've literally just been talking about that. Yeah, until we get higher range on the sensors, we're a little bit scuppered. I've just realised they can't get in here. What a fool I've been. Yeah, that turbine build that I've done, realistically will overheat unless I get something in. Also, I really had literally 15 minutes to play. Yeah, I've literally not. This is the furthest I've been on like a proper single player game. Other than that, it's just been a bit of debug tinkering for me as well, really. Who's scalding them? Why? Oh, I was expanded down here, wasn't I? Okay, this might piss off quite a few dupes, so I need to be careful down here. We'll let them crack on with that. Yeah, we need a bigger range on the sensors. They've done it with Atmos sensors, so realistically now, if they want us to be dicking about with temperature up to like, you know, 200 degrees, 300 degrees and higher, we need better range in our temp sensors. Yeah. Scalding is quite deadly now. They take way more damage. That's what med bays are for. Don't worry about it, grind this game, honestly. Winter, you do worry about the strangest things compared to me. I'm like, nah, they'll be fine. What's the problem? It's only a bit of skin burning. They'll be alright. Use regular tiles with air in the top right to prevent, then it broke all my blocks. Yeah, you need to use airflow tiles to stop the overpressurizing, like the pressure breaking. Life doesn't like its dupes with skin. No, it slows them down. We get rid of the skin here. We start with removing all their body hair. That's the first stage of scalding. And then we literally take away the skin. Makes less wind resistance. It's only a flesh wound, exactly. There was no air square and it overpressurized. Does the oil somehow prevent the vent from overpressurizing? Yeah, what basically happens, it's better to explain. I was literally talking to Leppy about this before the stream. I've changed how I do overpressurized vents now, both for gas and liquid as a rule. So for gas, what I now like to do is do this build, which is much easier to prime, a lot less troublesome to prime, rather. Okay. Dupe skin burn just reminds me of a traditional fry up. Yeah. What's that shit like luncheon meat stuff? Right. So imagine you were trying to overpressurize a gas vent. All right. So there's your gas pipe coming in. There's your vent. What most people used to do was just build a one tile high thing, and what I used to do as well, a one tile, you know, little chamber, and pop your liquid in there, and pop like just under 1 kilo of liquid in there. Okay. That's fine. It does work. However, occasionally now, since they've changed the way that gases, surface liquids can evaporate and do weird things, and there's a better method that I've started doing, which is we do the same thing, but we have a 2 deep chamber. Okay. In this chamber, you put your oil in the bottom. This really only works best with oil and petroleum. Put oil in the bottom and fill it up. Okay. And when the level starts to get to just above your mesh tile, so it's in this tile now. Stop pumping your liquid in and mop this, okay? And then one of the little mop bottles that you might have kicking around, or just build a little trench somewhere, you know, like this, and pump in a bit of oil. Get them to mop up some of the oil, so you've got like just 1 kilo of oil in a bottle, and then drop that in here. So it's basically in this bottom tile you'll have like 870 kilos of oil, which is the max tile or the max comfortable pressure for oil in a tile space, okay? And then drop your 1 kilo in here and put your vent down. And what will basically happen then is when the gas packets come through here, it'll hit the oil and it will bounce it down. And this oil will temporarily go to 871 kilos, for example. And your gas can come out. It works much better than the standard way. It'll never slow down in the pipe. It'll just constantly pump out. I've started doing this build more, and I'll probably do it in this base at some point. Again, I can show you, but I'm not in debug. Probably I can show you very quickly. I should really keep debug handy, and I just don't like potentially revealing my map and cocking things up. I found it to be much more stable when you're moving lots and lots of gas. We may well do it when we get to our natural gas guys, and I'll show you why in a second. I seem to be very dark tonight. Very dark in here. You can also make just make it 2 wide and have 2 vents. The liquid will jump back and forth. Yeah, that can sometimes delete your liquid dose turnus. That's one of the reasons I've stopped doing that. Right, okay. So this is basically what I mean here. So you've got 870 kilos in the bottom, and you've got 984 in this tile here. And what this was basically doing was taking the excess gas from a steam geyser, a natural gas geyser, and basically pumping it in here. And I just wanted to test how much gas would sort of build up over time. Now, this has all been turned off power-wise, disconnected everything when I was trying to measure how much power my turbine build was generating. But yeah, this essentially works. This is how I'd recommend you do your tank, Tony. So like this sort of build. So make this middle tile too high. That's what I'd recommend. And for liquid, yeah, same principle with liquid. You just need to put less than a full tile's worth of the liquid in there. So crude oil can go to 870 kilos naturally. That's what it wants to be at. It can overpressurize, as you'll see in your oil biomes when you get like oil at 3,000 kilograms. It can overpressurize, but it likes to be at 870-ish. Okay, so if, like in here, I've got 500 kilos of crude oil, and this is just ridiculous amounts of water in here, like basically pumping off from a geyser for ages. I've just left this now and turned it all off, as I say, but yeah, just two methods of doing it really. For liquid, the best method is liquid venting hydrogen at the top. Flawless performance. You're talking about having a hydrogen layer of gas. Yeah, this is the same. It's no downtime. That's not how liquid works. Liquid is non-compressible. Yes, hence hydraulics. I know. Thanks for a thorough explanation above and beyond life. No worries, Tony. No worries. Hope that helps. It's something that will help you a lot, and you can use it in a lot of different builds. But no, I agree, Turnus. I know what you're talking about, using the gas trick over a vent to make it only notice the gas over the vent. Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean, buddy. But yeah, it's the same thing really. Just different methods doing the same job. Right, let's go back to the main menu. The gas one over gas vents I used to quite like, having like a bar of hydrogen for where you were pumping in, numerous gases. What material do you make your outside tiles out of? On the water tank, just abyssite because it doesn't transfer the temperature. Your internal airflow tiles can be any metal, whatever you've got the most of really, it doesn't really matter. Depends whether you're trying to cool the water as well or not. But overflow tanks for me are normally just big chunky storage for water. I don't really worry about the temperature that much. Anyway, I hope that helps. Right, let's get back to this. Rowan is really not in a good way, is he? He's at 4 health. Holy shit. Rowan is down. What else? Who else needs to be fixed? Health. Ada. Oh, you'll be okay. Building lacks resources 32. What? Oh, we out of slime. Oh no, I can't get to the slime. That'll be why. We destroyed this ruin, didn't we? I forgot. It'll be fine. I found the oil sometimes disappears at extreme pressures. The hydrogen never deletes. I found regardless of pressure. That's what I've just explained, though, Saturnus. That build I've just shown you can never delete because the oil always has somewhere to go. It can overpressurize into the body of oil below it, so it'll never get